Some stories end neatly. Summer Pockets doesn't. It ends with a contradiction, a feeling that tastes like sunlight and loss at the same time. Because this final arc isn't just about a love story, it's about a girl who fears her future, and a child who comes from that very future trying to save her. It's about time loops, forgotten summers, and one impossible truth. Sometimes the most painful thing we can do is stop living in the past. Welcome to the final chapter of this 5-part journey of Summer Pockets. Let's begin. Of all the girls Hairi meets on Torishiroshima, Shiroha Naruse is the one who feels the most delicate. Quiet, soft-spoken, distant in a way that feels intentional. She watches people the way someone watches the sea, appreciating its beauty but afraid to get too close. And eventually we learn why. Shiroha has a strange ability. She occasionally sees fragments of the future. Not long prophecies or dramatic visions, just small moments that haven't happened yet. Moments she can't understand or control. When she was younger, she saw someone fall, and later, that person did. She couldn't stop it, couldn't change it, and the island, with its long memory and sharp superstition, whispered the rumor Shiroha brings misfortune. People who get close to her get hurt. So Shiroha grew up believing she had to keep distance to keep others safe. Her instinct is to avoid connection. And then she meets Haire, a boy with broken wings who refuses to let her stand alone. But the story doesn't truly shift until the second girl appears. Umi is introduced as a cheerful, energetic 12-year-old girl who wakes Haire up every morning. Sweet, playful, a little clingy, and strangely perceptive. She knows island customs, predicts weather changes, repeats dialogue before people say it, understands events she shouldn't understand, gets emotional when Shiroha and Haire show affection, reacts strongly to the mention of August 31st, the end of summer. At first, these look like cute character quirks, but then her diary appears and everything falls into place. Umi isn't from this summer. She is Shiroha and Haire's future daughter from a timeline that already happened. In her original life, she grew up with her parents. Shiroha later died shortly after childbirth. Her father collapsed emotionally. Umi felt abandoned and full of guilt. Eventually, after a fall near a cliff, a butterfly touched her and she was thrown back into the past. But not just once. Every time the summer ends, Umi slips into another loop, another version of the same summer, over and over and over. Each loop erases parts of her memory, makes her body more fragile, becomes harder to hold on to. But by the time the anime shows her, she's been looping for years. She remembers Kushima's adventurous summer, Tsumugi's summer of borrowed time, Ao's summer on the mountain, Shiroha's summer of fear. She has walked every route because every time she returns, she ends up crossing paths with those stories. Umi has lived all the summers, all to be near her mother she lost too early in the future. This is why she seems wise beyond her age, why she knows the island better than the locals, and why she reacts so strongly to Shiroha and Haire's affection. It's the first time your parents ever fall in love, and you're watching it happen. The final arc reveals the other world of Summer Pockets, a quiet, sunlit field with a lone tree at the center. A place where lost memories drift, time folds on itself, the past and future touch, the dead and the living momentarily meet. Shiroha's mother became a butterfly, and Umi's soul repeatedly falls into new loops. Umi calls this place the Summer Cage, a world of endless Augusts, where time doesn't move unless you choose to leave, a place that tempts anyone who wants to escape pain. And Shiroha does. When young Shiroha discovers the truth that her mother left, that Umi came from a future where Shiroha dies, that becoming a butterfly means drifting forever in past summers. She starts to believe she should follow the same path. She thinks, if I go to the summer cage, I won't hurt anyone, I won't lose anyone, I won't be left behind. It's the same temptation Umi faced, to stay in the past instead of facing the future. And this becomes the real conflict. Umi, the girl who kept looping to escape her future, must now convince her mother to not make the same mistake. The turning point isn't supernatural, it isn't a vision, it isn't a ritual, it begins with something much simpler. Shiroha finally breaks down, letting out everything she has carried since childhood. How abandoned she felt when her mother disappeared, how terrified she is of hurting the people she loves, how lonely those summers were, how she believed she was a burden, how she convinced herself nobody would ever stay, how much she wishes she could hold on to the people she has lost. And as she's speaking, Umi listens with a silence that feels too old for her small body. A silence shaped by countless loops, countless summers, countless versions of this same pain. But the thing that frees them both doesn't come from either girl's voice. It comes from a letter. In the summer cage, the border between the present and the summers Umi has lived, Umi finds a message written by Shiroha long ago. A message Shiroha wrote for a daughter she would never get to raise, hoping somehow, someday, it would reach her. The handwriting is shaky, the words are simple, but they are everything Umi has needed to hear through every loop. When you are sad, you don't have to keep it inside. Tell someone. If you share it, you'll be okay. Umi reads the letter slowly, her hands trembling because it is the first time in all her summers that her mother's voice truly reaches her. The moment is quiet, but it breaks everything open. It frees Umi from the belief that she must carry her loneliness forever. It frees Shiroha from the idea that her love only hurts the people around her. It frees both of them from the loops, the literal ones and the emotional ones. Umi doesn't disappear because she's fading, she disappears because she is finally at peace. And when she dissolves into drifting butterflies, returning to the place where memory becomes light, Shiroha makes a choice she has never made before. She steps out of the past. She chooses the uncertain future. Not because it's safe, but because she finally believes she's allowed to have one. Summer Pockets ends with a metaphor so gentle you almost miss how painful and beautiful it is. A picture book Hairi and Shiroha once read. A butterfly with bright wings flies into a colorless world. It gives its colors away to flowers, to people, to everything it touches and meets along the way, and by the time its journey ends, its wings have turned white. That is Umi, a girl who used her last remaining summers to give her mother's life color again. A child who looped through the same August over and over, just to return something she felt was taken too soon. She's not a tragedy, she's the color in everyone else's story. And when she appears as a rainbow in the sky, the final arc of light bending over the island, it isn't a literal resurrection, it's a promise that the love she carried wasn't wasted, that the summers she lived weren't for nothing, and that Shiroha doesn't have to fear the future anymore. So in the next summer, Hairi returns to Torishiroshima, older, calmer, no longer running from himself, and Shiroha is there, not a cursed girl, not a prophet of misfortune, just a woman who learned she didn't have to live in fear. She serves him fried rice, he smiles, and without any supernatural glow or time looping magic, they start again. Because Summer Pockets isn't about rewriting the past, it's about learning to live with it. Kamome taught Hairi to chase childhood wonder, Tsumugi taught him to cherish the time that doesn't last, Ao taught him to carry memory without guilt, Ume taught him to let go of the loops we get trapped in, and Shiroha, finally, teaches him how to walk toward a future he can't predict. So, 5 summers, 5 stories, one life moving forward. Summer ends, but the feeling stays. And that's enough.